And we are back on Forbes Sports Money with our State of Sports discussion brought to you by SAP. And joining us in the studio is the co-founder of College Sports Television, the architect of the recent Pac-12 Conference media strategy, including the Fox ESPN media rights agreement, which is the largest in college sports history. I'm not done. And the man who constructed the Texas Rangers Fox media rights agreement, believed to be the largest local TV rights deal in Major League Baseball history, Chris Bevilacqua joins us. I am exhausted.
Great to be back.
It's good stuff. It is definitely good stuff. And now we're out of time. We got to take a break. No. Anyway, let's talk about what's going on in the world of sports as it relates to TV. Fox buying 49% minority stake for now of the Yes Network with the right to buy in 3 years majority ownership. What does it tell you about Fox's media strategy?
Well, I think it's pretty clear that Fox across the board in terms of their RSN businesses, and we'll probably talk a little bit about what they're doing nationally, they are really as a company doubling down on sports as an overall media strategy to continue to build their entire portfolio of programming services.
They're going to go competing with ESPN for a national cable network in 2013. Given their stable of programming, they got the Big 12 and Pac-12 and college football. Obviously, they have a new deal with Major League Baseball, NASCAR. How is all their programming positioned, in your opinion, Chris, to help them compete with ESPN?
Well, I think, you got to step back and think that it's awfully difficult to compete with ESPN. They have a lot of rights locked up for a long period of time. I think that it's probably more reasonable, more rational to think of, is there enough room for a clear number two player in national sports, given that there's NBC Sports Network, CBS Sports Network, all the other league networks that are kind of their own little verticals? I think the answer is absolutely yes, and that's why they've made those investments in college football rights. They just extended their NASCAR deal. They just did the Major League Baseball deal, which will allow them to put rights on their new national sports channel. So I think the idea would be to create a really strong number two to the dominant ESPN position. I think there's a lot of room in the market to do that.
NBC Sports has their own cable network, so does CBS. You're basically saying what Fox has right now in their portfolio is good enough to make them number two, and then you're talking long-term strategy. Fox isn't saying, hey, let's try this for a couple of years and get out.
Yeah,
they're talking long-term.
That's right. I mean, you got to eat the elephant one bite at a time, right? So if you can put yourself in position over the next 5 to 10 years to create the real strong number two, and then when some of those longer-term rights agreements that ESPN has now come due into the market in 8 or 10 years, then you're in a position maybe to compete on that level. But no one's competing with ESPN directly anytime soon.
If you're looking at to make this work economically for Fox, which is owned by News Corp, ESPN is going to get on average about $5.26 per subscriber per month in 2013. Fox doesn't have to get close to that really to make this work, right? They just have to get, what, $1, $2?
Yeah, I mean, there you have it. I mean, to get to that clear number two position, can you build something that's 20, 30% of what ESPN? I mean, that seems to me to be a reasonable goal. So 20, 30% of $5, you're sort of in the $1 to $1.50 range in terms of subscriber fees. I think that's achievable.
And you talked about getting rights to media events. You're talking about live sports events, and that's what's really driving this train for all of these networks, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, I think that's what's driving the entire pay TV ecosystem, right? Because all of the non-sports programming services, entertainment, news, all the other kind of lifestyle, that's all available in lots of other places outside of pay TV. Sports is really the only thing that's sealed inside of that pay TV system. And plus the fact that it's live. You can only watch it. Sports really has its primary currency when it's live. And so that's why you see Fox and News Corp and other entities, Comcast, doubling down on sports and sports rights.
I want to ask a quick follow. You obviously have DVR at home. Have you ever DVR'd a live sports event and then gone back and watched it?
Actually, I have not. No.
I've done the same thing. I recorded a game, and you end up hearing the score somewhere, and
that's right.
You don't watch the game. You want to watch it live.
Well, I think that's why live sports programming is 20% of all viewable television right now, because you have to watch it live. The other thing I was kind of curious, and this is on the heels of what you were talking about, Fox buying a minority stake in this network, is, Fox now owns 20 RSNs, plus a minority stake in Yes, plus they're trying to buy Sports Time Ohio, which is the Cleveland Indians RSN.
Yep.
I'm looking at that and I'm comparing it to Comcast, which owns NBC Sports and owns only 13 RSNs. Does that give Fox an advantage, or are there sort of two different models at work here, given that Comcast actually is a carrier itself, a cable company?
Well, yeah, I mean, there are definitely two different models, and all of Comcast RSNs are in markets where they actually are the dominant cable provider. That's the only place that they really play, whereas Fox is a pure content company. So you have a little bit of a conundrum with Comcast and NBC. And NBC, right, their RSNs are in their NBC content group. Then they have a cable company called Comcast Cable. And so the cable company pays the cost to all the programming, whether it's Fox or CBS or whomever, right? The cable company is ultimately who has the customer relationship, and that's where I'm getting my $150 a month from, right, for TV and high-speed data and telephone. So you've got a bit of a conflict, right? So NBC on the RSN side, for every dollar they spend here, they have to pass it through to the cable company. Whereas Fox is a pure content company. And not only do they sell RSNs, they sell national networks, they sell all kinds of other video products, but they're a pure content company and not a distributor.